Unit 10, Lesson 5, last lesson, but notice what I put here for new info. So after this unit, we'll be starting to study for STAR review. You probably have a couple of lessons there, but this is the last lesson for new information for you guys for this year, okay? So today we're going to be talking about methods of payment. You've been talking about interest, compound, simple interest, the cost of credit, the cost of college. Now we're going to be talking about what kind of methods of payment am I going to have options for as I get older to help pay for things. Okay. So below are some of the common methods of payment used. They're not the only ones. And we're going to use the table to compare each of those types of payments and their advantages, disadvantage, and any other important information to know about those. Okay. So, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about each one of these individually. So, we'll be actually moving down the paper. So, I'm going to have to do quite a bit of scrolling. So, I'm sorry if it makes you a little dizzy. So, the first thing we're going to talk about is what it is. And then we're going to talk about advantages, disadvantage, and just some other info or tips about that type of payment. All right. So the first one is cash. And cash is using a person's own money in the physical form, meaning dollars and change. Meaning you don't have any kind of account anywhere, or you do, but you're just carrying that cash, that stuff that you can, just hand to somebody. Okay. So some of the advantages of using cash is that it's going to help you stay in budget. And it's going to help you stay in budget because you can only spend what you got, right? Okay. The other thing with cash is even though this is supposed to be an advantage, it's kind of I guess a disadvantage, but you have that feeling of a loss when it's spent. Okay. But you know what? Some places don't even take cards. If I'm going to my son's baseball games, sometimes they don't take a card. I mean, a lot of places do now because they have hotspots, but some of them just take cash. So it's always good to have cash on hand. Some of the disadvantages is there's no online purchasing. And we know how much we like to online purchase these days. But so no online purchases. And sometimes, depending on what it is, it's not as quick to pay with. You'll see some of those commercials where everybody has a card, and then somebody comes through and they hand cash and somebody has to give them change back. And so sometimes it's just not as quick to pay with. Okay. Any other tips? The only bad thing about cash is that it's easy to lose or lose or get stolen. So when you have cash, you want to keep it in a safe place. And that's why people typically have a wallet, to keep it all in one place. And another thing with cash is it can't be traced anywhere. So if you buy something with cash, you might want to like a pair of shoes or something, you always want to keep the receipt to show payment. So if you want to return something, okay? So just a couple things about cash. All right, so let's talk about the next one, which is credit cards. And we've talked about credit cards just a little bit, but a credit card is using a small plastic card used by a financial company. So it's backed by a financial company. And this way you're borrowing money. You don't actually have the money just yet, but you're borrowing that money that you will repay later, typically on a monthly basis. Okay. So some advantages of a credit card is it's going to help you build some good credit. So it helps you build that credit history. On a lot of credit cards these days, you can earn rewards. I know a lot of people that will save all their rewards till Christmas time and use all their rewards to pay for Christmas or pay for a trip. It tends to be really convenient. Um, convenient. That can be a good thing and can be a bad thing. You might overspend if it's too convenient, but it's also right there. A lot of people have their credit cards stored in their phones. So if you go to Amazon or a place that you frequent a lot, it kind of stores your credit card for you. So it's real easy to pay. But one of those things that's really good advantage is that it's helpful in emergencies. And I don't just mean like, hospital visits or something like that, but just any type of emergency where you just might need to pay for something real quickly, and then you can pay it off later. Some of the disadvantages is that you get charged interest if it's not paid off at the end of the month. If you pay it off each month, most of the time, you don't get charged interest, or you can't get charged interest. But what you can have with some credit cards, just to have their credit card, they can charge you a fee. You see the black cards, everybody's got a black, American Express black or whatever it is. I hate to tell you, but those typically have an annual fee to hold one of those. Like you're just paying to have the card. And sometimes you'll have late fees if you don't pay that monthly thing on time. Okay. Some other tips you might want to know about credit cards, or you might, tips. Only make purchases you can pay off each month. Otherwise, then that's when you run into a lot of debt. Okay. All right. So what's the difference between a credit card now and a debit card? Okay. A debit card is still that plastic card. They look a lot alike, but a debit card is usually issued by a bank. It says financial institution too, but it's typically issued by a bank, and you can only spend what you have in your own account, and it's withdrawn immediately, unlike a credit card where you're charged and then at the end of the month you pay it. This one is taking out of your savings account or checking account, immediately transferred out of that account. Okay. All right, so some advantage to that is that, once again, this is kind of convenient. You just walk up when you're at the gas station or whatever, and you just zip your card in. One of the real big advantages over a credit card is that it typically requires a PIN number to be used. Okay. You can only spend what's in your account. Okay. And with a debit card over a credit card, because it's your cash that you have, it's just sitting in an account, you can get cash back, or you can go to an ATM and get cash out because that's your money. Some of the disadvantages is if you spend more than what is in your account, you have what is called an overdraft fee. And some of those can be really large. $25 if you spend too much more money than you have in your account. And that is what we call overdrafting. So we're over pulling it out. Okay. All right. So some other good info or tips: keep that PIN secure. And check your account. That's supposed to be a check. I know that's horrible. check your account balance frequently. Okay. All right, last one, online banking. So let's see, what color are we going to do here? Let's just do black. So online banking, using the internet to manage your money, making transfers, paying bills, making deposits, all those types of things. So some of the advantages is it's an easy way to pay bills. And then, a lot of banks have apps to make things easier. Okay. Some of the disadvantages would be, I'm going to leave that there, is that now that you're online, you have to beware of hackers and identity theft. Sorry if my handwriting is kind of crazy. So make sure that you have a secure site. Okay, and we'll put that down below. But sometimes with online banking, you're going to have deposit limitations, meaning you can only move or transfer so much money. Okay. All right, so some of those other info or tips with this one, always use a secure site when you're making or transferring money, or a secure site or a network. And it will say that on there. Make sure you have really strong passwords. And then make sure you never give out your info, your personal account info. Okay? All right, so those are just some of the advantages, disadvantages, and what different methods of payment are. All right, so let's look and see if we can tell what type of payment is being expressed in some of the questions down below. So I will do some of these with you, and then you're going to try a couple on your own. For each situation, identify which form of payment is being described by recording the correct number. Some will be used more than once. Well, definitely. All right. So Forrest bought a pair of shoes by swiping his card at the store. We don't know which store. He'll actually pay the balance at the end of the month. So if we're talking about the end of the month, is it directly coming out, or is it on a monthly basis? It's on a monthly basis. So this one would be credit card. And I'm just going to use numerical numbers. Divya logs onto her computer and uses her bank's website to submit a payment for her electricity bill on the 25th. So she logged onto her computer and uses her bank's website. So what form of payment did we use here? Online banking. Fernando drove to his bank. So he drove to his bank, made a withdrawal, and then drove to the mall to purchase an outfit for his upcoming school dance. So when he made a withdrawal, what does that mean he's doing? Yes, he's pulling out cash from the ATM that's there, or he's going in and withdrawing cash, okay? So then that means he's paying with cash. All right, I'm going to do one more. Ellie went out to eat with friends and paid by swiping a card. She swiped a card of some sort. The cost of her meal was immediately taken out of her linked bank account. So what does that mean? If it's linked and it's immediately taken out, is that a credit card or is that a debit card? Hopefully you said debit card because it's immediately withdrawn and it's linked to her checking account. And debit card is 3. All right, so you're going to try E, F, and G on your own. Good luck. All right, we're going to look at a couple of these at the bottom, but not all of them. I mean, some of these are just good discussion pieces, but there's no actual like real question. So number 2 says, well, it says evaluate each scenario below to give advice and reflect on the various methods of payment. So every method of payment has its pros and cons. List what you might think the greatest risk of using each type of payment is. So cash, what do you think that greatest risk would be? Well, I'm going to say if your cash gets lost or stolen, right? That's like the greatest risk, right? Remember, risk. What about credit card? What's our greatest risk there? Overspending and not being able to pay it off at the end of the month. Okay. What about a debit card? Remember, that's taken out immediately and you only have what you have in the account. So what we're calling overdrafting again, okay? Meaning you're spending more than you have in that account, and then that comes with a fee, okay? When you overspend, that comes with interest that's being paid. Not good, bad interest. And then what about online banking? What did we talk about there? Hacking or identity theft, okay? All right, and then let's look at number 5. An unknown number calls you, because this happens a lot, okay? And you probably have already maybe seen it with your cell phone, okay? Or if you even have a debit card, some of you might have some of those green light cards or debit cards. But as you get older, you're going to start getting these spam calls, or an unknown number calls you to congratulate you on a $500 gift card, okay? To their new store opening. They ask you for your online account information to directly transfer the funds to you. How do you respond? Well, hopefully you say, no, I'm not, because they're asking you for your information. If they really wanted to give you $500, they would just send you a check, or they would say, come in and we have a $500 gift card for you. But never give out never share your personal information over the phone or online. Never give out that personal information. In fact, just hang up the phone. If you don't even recognize the number, just don't answer it. If you don't know where that email is coming from, just don't open the email. All right. Well, this was your last lesson. You have your practice to complete. Let your teacher know if you have any questions. Bye, guys.